We live? Are we live? Yeah, I think we are. We're live. Yes, we are live. We are live. Let's turn that down a little bit. All right, we are here. Hi guys. How's everybody doing on there? I hope everybody is well. Uh, I'm running kid here again for pretty much the first Q&A of November, but this is a little bit special because this is also a tribute to Kevin the Batman Conroy. Um, we of the Geek Nation lost the best Batman ever. That being Kevin Conroy. Kevin Conroy passed away this week or the 10th, but it was mentioned the 11th, I believe, and he passed at age 66. He was fighting cancer. I found out later on that he was fighting cancer. Cancer is a bitch, and he kept it secret from a lot of people, and only some of the closest people he knew about it. But he passed away right here in New York. He was at Mount Sinai Hospital, I believe, in Mount Sinai. That's a major hospital in New York City, and that's where he passed. Kevin Conroy was Batman. To many of us, he was he was Batman. And sure, there were a lot of other actors who voiced the character, but nobody voiced that character like Batman. And there's nobody I can think of that can't tell me straight off the bat that when you read a Batman comic, you didn't hear that man's voice come out of that character. I don't want to hear it. Don't even tell me you didn't hear that voice. I have been on a serious Batman binge as of late. Been I'm currently watching it right now. I just turned down the volume right now. I'm on season 3 of Batman the animated series right now. I'm on the episode which introduced Maximilian Zeus right now, and Bruce right now is being tied up by a big anaconda right now. So if you see me looking this way, looking not at the camera, my TV is right there. I will be answering questions, guys. Don't think I'm not, but this is more of a tribute for me to talk about Kevin Conroy and just uh, get some things off my mind that I wanted to do, and I just forgot to do it like in a normal video. So yeah, the first thing I think a lot of people, if you've met Kevin Conroy, please comment in the section down below in the comment section. I'd love to hear what it was like to meet him because I never met him, and there have been many conventions where I had a chance to meet him, and I just was like, all right, I can meet him another time. I can meet him another time. It's just and it wasn't a case was the lines were too long. I didn't care about that, but it was just like I got another chance to meet him. Don't worry, I'll meet him. But he loved his fans. And he would go to many conventions. Oh, Bruce has got a warthog to deal with. um, but yeah, he loved his fans and he loved playing that character. And you would think sometimes with characters, actors who play a role for so long, they would get tired of it. But there was always something that brought him back to playing that character. He even said in a later interview that uh, it was playing that character that helped him accept that he was gay. You know, Kevin Conroy was gay, and I've gotten many questions of people saying, so how does that feel to know that your favorite Batman voice actor, whatever, was gay? I'm like, what am I supposed to say? Do you want me to, I'm supposed to what, say I hate the character because I hate the guy because he was gay? No, his sexual orientation had nothing to do with his love for that character. That's something that's only stupid homophobic idiots deal with. You know what I'm saying? So it had nothing to do with that. I had no problem with him being gay when he finally opened up and said he was gay. It had nothing to do with that. But Kevin Conroy is Batman. He was Batman. He is the same guy. He is how I look at when I look at my favorite voice actor for Superman. I know there's a lot of people that look at the actor who voices Superman in that voiced him in the Justice League and the video and the Injustice games. My favorite Superman voice actor was Tim Daly. That was my iconic. That was my essence of Superman. I loved Tim Daly as Superman. His voice, everything about him. Same thing with Kevin Conroy. Kevin Conroy knew how to adapt his voice for that character so well that even when he spoke as Bruce Wayne, it was different. He took the essence of what we saw with Michael Keaton and he amped it up and gave that character such a true voice. Kevin Conroy was also a fellow New Yorker. He was a fellow New Yorker. He was born in Westbury, New York. Westbury is out in Long Island, or most New Yorkers, as we call Long Island. There's a couple of nicknames for Long Island. We call Long Island Strong Island. There's a couple other names, but some of us, there's also a couple of many New Yorkers that look at it like, it doesn't even feel like it's New York. And that's sometimes true. I don't go out to Long Island very often. The only reasons I would go out there is to go see my grandparents, who are buried out there, and to see my mother, who is buried out there who is buried out there in the big military cemetery out there. So those are the only reasons where I will go out there. Several of my favorite entertainers are from Long Island, including Kevin Conroy, but Melissa Joan Hart is from Long Island. Uh, uh, One of my favorite hip hop artists, Rakim, is from Long Island, as well as Biz Markie. Rest in peace, Biz is from Long Island. So yeah, he's in a good league of people born out there, but he was Batman. Now I'm gonna also be giving you guys my favorite episodes of the animated series, as well as what he did for Batman Beyond, and just tell you in a sense like who do I look at as probably the second best voice actor to play Batman. I'll be doing that for an hour or two. I will be answering questions, but I definitely want to hear from you guys some of your favorite episodes so we can get into talking about it and bringing it up. Like I said, right now I am on season 3 of Batman the Animated Series. It is on. You can't see it or probably hear it to turn down the volume so I don't get no copyright or anything on here. Right now, like I said, the episode is ending where he faced Maximilian Zeus. Right now, Maximilian Zeus is going to Arkham right now, and he's looking at all the he's looking at, for example, Poison Ivy and calling her Demeter, the goddess of harvest, and Two-Face as double-faced Janus. All these are Greek gods, and he even looked at the Joker as Hermes, as the trickster of the gods. I'm like, yeah, they really made Max really crazy, and he's a character I don't think I could ever see being adapted to live action. Zeus being adapted, I just don't think he could be. But yeah, it's all about Kevin Conroy tonight. If you have any other questions, I will answer them. But just be mindful, guys. It is about Kevin Conroy as well. I will let you guys know. Yes, I did. I saw Black Adam this week. I really enjoyed it. I will have that review up soon. Very much. Next up is Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. Been hearing nothing but good things and very touching and a good tribute to the late Chadwick Boseman. So I appreciate that too. Not a lot of movies left for me this year uh, that I want to see. Um, I know that the latest Disney movie definitely want to see, and the David Harbour Santa Claus movie I definitely want to see. But in the meantime, let me get to some of your questions, indeed, guys. Um, in the process. Uh, Sorry about that. Uh, Let me. Oops. Wait, go back. Hold on. Let me turn back on another episode. Oh yes. Okay. So I'm gonna rewatch the Shadow of the Bat. This was the first appearance and debut of Barbara Gordon as Batgirl. That was season 3, guys. Anyway, let's see what's going on in the comment section. Everybody just saying hi. Um, yeah, hey Chris, rest in peace, Kevin Conroy. We lost an icon. Yes, we did. Uh, Galactus Girl. If it's still agonizing for me that we lost. Yeah, I mean, you know. All right, let me explain to you where I was when I got notified that he passed. And the cyborg, I will answer your question, your first question. So let me just talk to Eliza Galactic Girl, my sis, about something. So I was on the job when I got notified that Kevin Conroy passed. Um, I was I was on the job. Next, I got a text message from Mr. Multiverse, Mr. Multiverse, Ty, and he said, "Dude," and it just read, "Dude, Kevin Conroy passed away." I'm like, "Wait, what? Like what?" I went outside. I poked up on the internet on my phone, went to various sites, and as soon as I put camera, boom, it's up there, and it is from the New York Post, Daily News, all the big New York papers. Kevin Conroy passed. Then I saw tweets from Mark Hamill talking about my heart's been broken. I don't know. Tara Strong goes on. I'm just like, yo, what the? So yeah, it hurt. That hurt very much. It's just was almost in the same kind of feeling I got when Robin Williams passed away or when Stan Lee passed away. That's how I felt. I was just like, yo, okay. Um, so yeah, it hurt. It definitely hurt a lot. Now to answer your question about Thanos versus Billy Batson, uh, who would win? Um, Strength wise, Billy's up there as a strength wise, but you got to also remember he's a kid. He's still a kid at heart, and yes, he does have the wisdom of Solomon, but Thanos is Thanos, so you got to be careful with that. Did you watch Carmen Sandiego reboot on Netflix? Yes, I watched a little bit of that. I didn't mind it at all. So, like I said, guys, I so the first time I heard of Kevin Conroy, this is just going to kind of show my age. I think a lot of people don't know that Kevin Conroy was a screen actor too, not just a voice actor. He definitely did some work before just becoming a screen actor, and he went to the School of Juilliard. That's a top-notch school of drama here in New York, I believe. Yes, in New York. And he was roommates with the late Robin Williams. So it's ironic to see Rob. It's good to see maybe him and Robin are reunited uh, in heaven. But yeah, the first time I known Kevin Conroy. The first time I saw him was not the Batman. It was not Batman. It was actually Matlock. That was the first time I actually saw him. That's once again, this shows my age. I'm a child of the '80s, and I loved the Andy Griffin show Matlock. I grew up watching it. Still watch it to this day. Thank God for Pluto TV because they got a channel on Pluto TV that runs it 24/7. And the episode that he was in, he was an old lover of Ben Matlock's youngest daughter, Charlene. And in that episode, he is a member of a rich family. There was a death in the family, and they asked Matlock to come in to try to, I believe it was uh to get the maid, the hired help off because it was she took the fall for the death of the heir, which she didn't do. So and Kevin Conroy is in there. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, cool. But then when I got older and then Batman, the animated series started, and they finally showed Kevin Conroy, I'm looking at that name, I'm like, that name looks familiar. And when I saw him, I was like, I know that guy. Like that's the guy from Matlock. So that was the first time I saw Kevin Conroy. Um, and he was great. And he Kevin Conroy is the only Batman actor who's voiced Batman to have actually had the animated Batman come out in movie theaters. Mask of the Phantasm is the only animated Batman movie to ever come out in theaters. There's never been any others. All the Batman movies, animated features have come directly to DVD or video or whatever you want to call it, Blu-ray. So he has a lot to say for a lot of that stuff. And like I said, there have been a lot of different actors who have voiced Batman. But he did it best. You know, he did it best. Hell, that I mean, you look at guys like Peter Weller, RoboCop. He voiced Batman in. He voiced old Batman in The Dark Knight. And he wasn't bad. But then you could say, but Kevin did that too. He could have done that, and he did. Michael Ironside voiced Batman, Dark Knight Batman in an episode. Remember that episode? Um, it was good, but Kevin could have did that too. He's voiced he's voiced his character so long. When we think of Batman, we think of him. Plain and simple. You know, there's no doubt about it. We think about him. And once again, with Batman the Animated Series, this was a show that came out in the 90s. 92, I was 92, yeah, 92-ish. I was 10 when this show first aired on Fox. And it was different. I love the element of how they did the series. They made it seem like it was kind of back in designed it looking like people were from like the 40s or 40s or 50s, but it was modern. It still was modern. There was TV, there was this and that, but everybody looked more like from like the 40s and up. It worked. Guys had Tommy guns. It was great. But if you guys remember just how much each episode cost to make, you'd be surprised. But once I remember Kevin them talking about when they casted Mr. Conroy, they said he came in and he just had it. He just had that voice, what we were looking for Bruce Wayne and for Batman. Think about it. When he voiced Bruce Wayne, when he voiced his voice, he up tempoed his voice. And I guess that comes from the singing background too. He was able to up it to give Bruce Wayne a little bit of more. It was weird because you would think, okay, Bruce is also he's also dealing with trauma of his parents' death, but he still had a very Hey, up. He was very up to, hey, doc. He was very, and then when he became Batman, he deepened it, and it just it worked so well, and you saw how well it worked that no other actor who's voiced Batman has tried to do that outside of having some kind of voice modulator to make it deep. I mean, we've seen all the live action Batman try to do it. Michael Keaton was pretty decent, but look at everybody else that tried it. Even Christian Bale, it got worse over the every sequel. It got worse. Ben Affleck came along and he had like that voice modulator to give it like a deep voice, but Kevin Conroy did it and he could do it. It was great. It was really great. I'll get to one of my favorite episodes of the series in a little bit. Let's see what else. He was the best Batman. Cancer is evil. Yeah. Hey, Chris. I always heard his. I always heard his voice when I read Batman Comics. Yeah. So do I. I still hear it to this day. What episode are you watching now? I'm watching Shadow of the Bat. This is the first episode of season 3 when Barbara becomes uh, she becomes Batgirl for the first time. Right now, I'm watching it right now. She's talking to Bruce to go to this rally to help her father because Commissioner Gordon's being set up that he's been taking bribes, but he's not. This is an episode that involves somebody he thought he can trust in his own police force, and he's actually working for Two-Face right now. So yeah. So right now, Barbara is she's going to fix her costume up right now. So yeah. So that's what's going on. You ask Caroline says I cried until my eyes were numb when I heard about the passing. Yeah, I didn't cry as much until I started watching the animated series. Then I started crying. I'm like, okay, now it's coming. You know, uh, Bruce is going under disguise as his alter ego matches Malone, uh, and Robin is asking him, when can I help? And uh, Bruce is basically saying, can he make public appearance to help Jim Gordon? Let me see. You have any words about grief, Chris? Uh, Words about grief. I deal with that every day. So I deal with that every day. I have lost a lot of people in my life and people I love, and the easiest. It's not really easy. The best that helps me numb that pain is think about the good times. That's the best thing I can do. I never met Kevin Conroy, and I'm sure there are people I know people who have met him. Knew him, talked to him, took pictures with him, and just said that he was just a really nice guy. You know, um, sorry, Barbara is in a makeshift Batman costume. She basically took. She's taking. she's taking stilts out of her shoes to fit Batman, and also took like things out of her shoulders to make her shoulders look big as a Batman right now. Uh, it's pretty funny. Man, I can tell you, I've never been this sad before. He definitely made a impact on his world. In the world, he will always be Batman. Yeah, that motherfucker Homer. Yeah, I mean, yes. For all those who don't know, Kevin Conroy had came out not too long ago during I believe it was during the DC Pride announcement, and he had announced that he was gay. And I remember getting questions from good friends just asking me, not trying to be homophobic, but just asking me, what do I think? And I was like, I'm fine with that. Like, it doesn't bother me. But, yeah, there were a couple of people I got on Twitter that, were just like, yo, how does he feel to have love for? I'm not going to use the stereotypical word for someone who's gay. It starts with an F and ends with a T. But I was just like, literally, basically was like, just did this to the dude. I put up a GIF saying somebody putting up their middle finger, like you're a dumbass for that. It wasn't even really worth my time answering, but I was just like, this is not the time for that. You know, um, not the time, indeed. But yeah, it's ridiculous. It really is. Robin. I didn't know Kevin Conroy was gay until a couple of days after he died. A lot of people didn't know. He sometimes coming out is not always easy, and I know that firsthand because it happened to my cousin. My cousin Javon is gay, and I remember him finally telling the family that he was gay, and I knew. I remember telling him, I was like, I wasn't shocked because it was like, I still love you, bro. It ain't never gonna change. You're my cousin. I'll always love you. But he was definitely, one of them. And I remember, telling him, I was like, we call him Kuda. I was like, Kuda, I knew you were gay since you were like 12 years old. Like I knew you were gay. You were always that way. And then never mind. And I never didn't mind that. Sometimes it's harder. It's not easy coming out. The only person that seemed to out of my family that seemed to had a kind of an issue or was our older cousin, and he was just kind of like out there. And I was just like, he's like, nah, I just didn't know if it was true. I'm like, Kevin, Jim, you're weird. Like it just was weird. But yeah, it is different. Yes, Kevin Conroy was from New York. He was from Westbury, New York, which is out in Long Island. That's in Long Island. So it's by Nassau County. I think that's the county that it's from in Long Island. So yeah, he's another great from Long Island. Most of us New Yorkers call it Strong Island, or we call it. But sometimes I call it Weirdoville because once you go out to Long Island, it's just kind of weird. It feels like Weirdoville sometime out there, and it's not all just stuck up rich white people out there. No, there's areas that are cool, but it's just weird. Uh, Hello everyone. What's up, Andre? For anybody who's just coming in, this is a tribute. It's a Q&A. You can ask me questions, but it is also a Q&A. It is a tribute to Kevin Conroy. So let me talk about one of my favorite episodes of Batman the animated series. Uh, I'll try to do Batman animated series and then go into Batman Beyond and maybe Justice League and things like that. One of my favorite episodes of Batman. Uh, I'll say this: I love the origin of a lot of episodes that dealt with origins of some of his villains. I loved it. I recently just watched after because right now I'm on season 3. I have all the seasons on box set. I don't have them in Blu-ray yet. I have them in just DVD box sets. I plan to get the series in Blu-ray, but one of my favorite episodes was the episode that was Clayface. Um, I love that episode of showing just Clayface, how Clayface became Clayface. That's very dark. That's the one thing about the animated series. It was a dark series at the time. You sometimes forget like how dark this series was, and this was a afternoon children afternoon show. This came on in the afternoon. There were episodes that were really dark, and Clayface's episodes were really dark. I love the episode. It played off, Matt Hagen. He was an actor, and he wasn't the stereotypical Batman villain. You know, he in most play he was an addict. You know, he was an actor. He got into a bad accident and it messed up his face, and he was always known as the handsome rogue actor. You know, things like that. And he had that playboy like look to him, and um, eventually he got mixed up with one of the characters in the series called Roland Daggett, and Roland Daggett basically gave him this kind of formula, like a face cream that it would it's supposed to get rid of wrinkles. Now Hagen's face was really kind of messed up, like he looked like a burn victim, but he also used to tell his stand-in, if I just want to do horror films, that's all I'm going to be good for. But here, Roland Daggett gave him some kind of cream that he could basically make his face into anything. His face became like Play-Doh, and he could make his face. He was kind of like almost like the chameleon, and he had to do jobs for Roland Daggett. Even the first episode, he portrayed himself as Bruce Wayne, and that was when Bruce Wayne. At the end of that episode, Bruce was locked up and gone to jail because of that. Um, and then we saw the next episode. Then we saw another episode, that same episode, where Hagen went back to where the formula was being made, and it became a drug. That was the whole concept also about the episode, is it was showing addiction, like what addiction can do. And Clayface he was addicted to this cream. Like it just, like he could just put it on his face, just go like this, and all of a sudden just move his face around, and he would become like anybody he want. And he was such a good actor, he could mimic their voice. And it was, and so the episode ended where pretty much Roland Daggett's men knocked him out, and then they drowned him in that plate, like the mass, the substance, that the new formula. They literally just, he's like, he wanted so bad, then here, and they just get, and he was just drowning, and you could see they didn't show it, they just showed they showed the shadow of what they were doing to him, and you just see him go, oh, he's drowning in this formula. And then they throw him in his car, and you just see him, and he's just covered in it, like his skin have just been drenched in it. And here we got Barbara now in her full official Batgirl costume. I like that. And she's like, yeah, let's see how Batgirl does. I like that. So yeah, and that was a really good. Then the next episode, we see Hagen, Matt, and he's fully Clayface, and he's looking at all the roles he did, and he's just changing into these roles without even thinking about it. And he starts realizing that whatever that formula did to him, it must have soaked every cell in his body. So now he can turn himself, and that was just the tip of the iceberg. Then he started going after all of Roland Daggett's men who did wrong till he got to him. And in that episode, Bruce wanted to help. He was, as always, Bruce wanted to help. And I love that scene where you hear Kevin's voice come out. He's just like, look at them, Hagen. Look at what you used to be. Let me help you. Like, and typical villains are so, no, Hagen's gone, or stop letting them haunt me. And he's just changing into, like, it's like a reflex action. And then the episode ended where Hagen pretty much shocked himself, and then he said, you know what I would have given for a death scene like this? Too bad I'll never read it in the papers. And then we find out that electricity has no real effect on him. And Bruce basically tells Alfred, he's like, first and foremost, he says, I wouldn't be surprised if the shell that is in the morgue is just a shell. And then he even said it. He said, first and foremost, remember, Hagen was an actor. He called it himself, Alfred. He called it a scene, probably the greatest scene of his entire career. A scene so real that it fooled us all. Kevin's voice, that line, him talking was just beautiful. It was just like, yeah, that's definitely one of my favorite episodes. It's called Face and Clay, or Clay and Face. It's a really good 2-part episode. That's definitely one of my episodes I really love. I'd love to hear what some of your favorite episodes are. So please do it. Tell me. Um, a couple of me would have to be the episode that introduced Mr. Freeze and Baby Doll. Yes, yes, Marion. Heart of Ice is one of my favorite episodes. That also is a really good episode of introducing Mr. Freeze, and that's how you do Mr. Freeze. Mr. Freeze is supposed to be kind of a sympathetic villain. He's not a true villain in the sense of like he wants to rule the world. Ha ha ha. No, he's a villain of his actions and what happened to him. And in that episode, you really see that where, when they show, him trying to save his wife, and then um, the man that was funding his project shuts down, and then he gets put into that coolant. And I love that episode. That was really good. Baby Doll's episode is really good. I was shocked that Baby Doll didn't make her original her original um original debut is better than when she came back in the 4th season. I didn't like when they brought her back, because you would have thought that maybe she would have learned her lesson. And when she hooked up with Croc, I didn't like that. I was like, why is she still acting like that? She shouldn't be acting like that. But I love Baby Doll. That was a really good episode of, which kind of plays off reality. That was based a little bit more reality. There's a lot of child stars who had conditions where they didn't look their age. They did. For example, Emmanuel Lewis, who was from Webster, Gary Coleman from Different Strokes. They never really looked their age because they never looked their age. I believe they had conditions, not like her, but yeah, she still looked like a little girl, but she was over 30, 40 years old in that episode. And she kidnapped the one thing from her life that meant something to her TV family. It was like, imagine that. Imagine a child actor kidnaps their, like, imagine, for example, it's like, imagine let's just say a child actor who grew up. Okay, let imagine Alyssa Milano. Okay, she was a child star. We knew her from like Who's the Boss. Imagine she stopped growing like that, and she kidnapped all the people that was on Who's the Boss to be the family again. That's how you look at it. Or Jaleel White kidnapped everybody from from Family Matters and did something like that. Or the Olsen twins did that with, what I'm saying? Like, yeah, it was a really good episode. And once again, Bruce was trying to help. And I love that, where, I love the episodes where Bruce, even though he's fighting the villains, or especially the villains and I love that when she was running through the tunnels, he's like, don't be afraid. I know you're scared, you know, confused. Let me help you. And then even when she got caught in the mirror house, and he didn't hit her, he never touched her, really, he never even hit her, and she's got the gun with the inside her little doll, and she's just shooting at the mirrors, and even one mirror that made her look like what she should look like now. And she was just like, why won't you make me believe, let me believe? And then she just keeps shooting. And then this episode ended with her crying, and Bruce, you know consoling her, and she's like, I didn't mean to, because that was like her famous line. Very good episode. Well done, Marion. Love that episode. I believe that's season 3 with Baby Doll. I'm in season 3. I haven't gotten to it yet. So yeah. Um, let's see. One of my favorite episodes are Joker's. Joker's favorite. If you're so smart, why aren't you rich? I'm not Batman. I got Batman in the basement. I just watched that. That's season one. Batman in the basement. That was a good episode with Sherman and his friend Roberta. They were like junior detectives, and Batman got hurt because of the Penguin, and he was telling them to go into her uh, go into the car. I really liked that episode. Shadow of the Bat. I'm watching that right now, Eliza, with Batgirl. Uh, Almost got him. I just watched that like 3 times yesterday. I was watching that. I love that episode because in hindsight, that could be done. An episode like that could have been done with Spider-Man. Imagine all his rogues gallery going around like I almost got Spider-Man and telling stories and when they almost got him. I love that. That was a really good episode. Purchase to Dream. What episode was that again? I can't remember that one. But yeah, all good choices. Keep them coming, guys. Did you ever watch Justice League versus the Fatal Five? It was um, it was apparently Conroy's last one. I did watch that. I liked it. It was okay. That one had Mr. Terrific in it, so I did. Of course, I was gonna watch that. How goes it, pack leader? I am good, Billy. Just reminiscing, and we're talking Kevin Conroy favorite episodes of his time, uh, what he meant to us as Batman. Right now, I'm currently watching Batman. I'm on season 3 right now. I'm on Shadow of the Bat Part 2, and Bruce is Batches Malone right now, and he just basically now Two Face thinks he's Batman because he said Robin get look out. Speaking of Two Face, that was a really good episode. Two Face's origin was really good. That was a really good episode. Just seeing, but the problem I think what I don't like about Hollywood in general when they do multiple personality disorder, it's not built off truly how it's supposed to be. Like I don't think a lot of people because there's still scientists and people in the field to this day that don't really look at multiple personality disorder as real. Like there's a lot of people that still think it's fake or they're just faking it. And in that episode, we got to see Harvey, sometime when he just goes off the end and he becomes big bad Harv, and we got to see like his other side. It was really interesting indeed. So we got hey Ken Conroy for me was such a great person who gave the Dark Knight his iconic voice. His voice will forever be in my head whenever I read anything Batman. Yeah, he immortalized that voice. When we look at actors, when we look at certain characters, when we look at certain characters in comics and we read them, it's like when I read Superman, if I was reading Superman in the comic, who voice I hear? I hear Tim Daly. I don't hear the other actor from Justice League. I hear Tim Daly. He was Tim Daly or even Christopher Reeves voice as Superman. But Batman is Kevin Conroy all the way. My second favorite Batman voice actor is Bruce Greenwood. I think Bruce Greenwood does a very good job as Batman. Um, but he's no Kevin Conroy. Um, the actor who voiced Batman in the Batman series, what was his name? Raymond Romano, I believe. He was good. He was okay. He also voiced Spider-Man too. But but he it was interesting, you know. Um, the actor who voices Batman, who voiced Batman and Batman Brave and the Bold, it worked for that version of Batman, yes, but he when it comes to the definitive Batman voice, it's Kevin Conroy all the way. Favorite Batman Beyond episode was Bruce and Terry hallway fight scene. Oh, you're talking about when Bruce Talia came back. We thought it was Talia. She came back and gave Bruce, because Bruce, he I guess he finally started to realize, like, yeah, he's getting old now. He's old and he can't do this much. And now, he accepts the Lazarus pit. You know, he accepts the Lazarus pit, and next we find out that he's working out with Terry. He's working out with him, just lifting weights, and he's like, yeah, it's all coming back, the strength, the stamina, and because Terry is even saying like it. I always wonder what you were like in your prime, and he's just like, and then he throws. Remember, he throws the barbell at the mirror, and he's like, no, it's a crutch. This is wrong. It's not natural. And then when he finally goes to see Talia, he hears Ra's al Ghul, opens the door, and he's like, Talia's standing there, and he's like, where is he, Talia? I heard him. Like, I heard him. And then she's like, detective, and it's that I remember that scene so well because it just my jaw dropped when I first watched that episode. I just went, I was like, no, Race didn't do that. And what bothers me so much about that is that Talia either allowed it or accepted. I want to believe she didn't want to go along with it. I think she was forced into it because it clearly, and I love Bruce's line, and he's like, you don't fear death, you quiver. He says you're not scared, you quiver in fear of it. You cannot, and I love that because to me that's all Ra's al Ghul. I like Ra's al Ghul, but he's not in my top 10 list of favorite Batman villains because I do believe, yeah, he's scared of death. He's scared of it. He's just so I gotta live. He's not Vandal Savage, but I feel like that. Um, I watched it a few months ago back, and I loved it. Yeah, Justice League versus Fatal Five was good. What will Samurai Jack think of? Think of who? Think of Black Adam. He wouldn't like him. Rest in peace, Kevin Conroy from Bill. Yeah, Bill. Like, yeah, rest in peace, indeed. That's what we're doing tonight. Just, I also will rewatch Batman TSA. Yeah, I've been watching it now. I'm watching it now. I'm watching it now. Harvey came in. Harvey Bullock. Bill, I was absolutely heartbroken when I heard about Kevin Conroy passing. I actually got to meet him at MegaCon this year. Okay, Bill, tell me about it. I want to, if everybody out there, if you met Kevin Conroy, I was at that MegaCon, and I know he was there. I didn't meet him. I wanted to, and something just said I just didn't get to meet him. But tell me what it was like because that's what I want to hear from a lot of people. Um, First time I heard Kevin Conroy's voice was in a preview of Batman Beyond on a Scooby Doo VHS. Okay. If Bruce Wayne finally had enough, and quit being Batman, who do you think he'd be letting down the most in his eyes, and how do you think those close to him would react? Um, I don't think he would be letting down anybody. If he felt like his time is up, he still has the rest of the Bat family to continue his quest, his war against they would still be doing it even if he wasn't, because that's something that he kind of trained them for. He always felt like, yeah, they would either take over when he's done, but Batman would die protecting Gotham. You know that. He'd rather die protecting Gotham than quit. If he has enough still in his body to keep going, he's going to do it. I want to see this Deadpool making fun of Green Lantern. Okay. See. Mask of the Phantasm is a masterpiece in my opinion. Mask of the Phantasm is great. Um, it was a very good episode movie because it was the only Batman animated movie that actually came out in theaters. No other Batman movie came out in theaters. That was the only Batman movie that came out in theaters, and it actually told the story of the Phantasm, and and also it told the story of just how long Bruce has been doing it. That he did have someone he cared about, and also the somewhat the origin of the Joker in this particular universe. One of the things I loved about um, the animated series of Batman, uh, each hero or even characters had their own like theme music, kind of like how if you ever seen Lethal Weapon, the movies, like when Murtaugh would come on, you hear the saxophone player, and then when Riggs would come on, you hear that guitar riff with the Batman. Like even Batgirl had her own theme. It was like so it was really cool, and I love that stuff very much. One of my favorite Batman episodes is the Ninja. Yeah, that was a really good episode too. I like that. We get to see like where Bruce trained his martial arts skills, and there was a student in the school that called Kyodaken, and he was better than Bruce, and he became and Bruce stopped him because he was going to steal from Master. I forgot Bruce's master in the series, uh, but he tried to steal one of those swords, Yodo Sensei. Yodo Sensei. He tried to steal his katana, and Bruce came in and saw that, and the young Bruce, and he was like, "Yeah, you're gonna, you know, good thing I came into practice." Yodo Sensei would hate to lose that sword. It's over 5,000 or 500 years old, and what's the name said, yeah, and worth a fortune. But I don't need it to beat you, Wayne. And then he got kicked out of the dojo. He later comes back as the ninja and starts ripping off, stealing from Wayne Tech corporations all around the all around Gotham. And finally, Bruce starts remembering things. And there was even when he finally saw the ninja, he saw his tattoo on his back. It looked like a yakuza tattoo. He had a big tattoo of like a demon on his back. It could have been an oni, and he remembered that Kyoto Dai had one that exact same tattoo, and so finally he did tell Bruce. He says, "You're going to pay for this." He called him rich man's son. He was like, "You'll pay for this, rich man's son." He's like, "I'll." He says, "I'm gonna take everything that you hold dear to you. Then I'm gonna destroy you instead of using kill. I'm gonna destroy you." And he almost did. And Bruce had to fight him as Bruce Wayne, but there was what was the reporter Summer Gleason? She was watching, so Bruce couldn't really be himself. And then once Robin came in and put a veil over, then he started fighting real. And and then he told later on, he said, "I told Gleason that Batman came and saved the day, and that was it." Then he came back in another episode. He returned back to Japan and kidnapped one of Yodo Sensei's star pupils now, Kii, I believe that's how you say her name. And Bruce came there to Japan, and Kyoto Dai knew that Batman and Bruce Wayne were the same man, and I love that they mentioned it. He's like fighting techniques are like a blueprint. Kyodai knows that Bruce Wayne and Batman are the same man, and I love that. That was a good episode too. And he also learned some kind of deft touch. I don't know karate. I didn't train in karate. I trained in taekwondo, not karate. So I don't know if there's a real technique called the old memory touch, where you basically jab somebody in the chest, in the right near the heart, and it'll kill them. You know, but it was actually a good episode. It was pretty funny too. But yeah, it was a good episode. The ninjas episodes were good too. Those were fun too. So thank you for those. Thank you for that. I like that too. That was a good episode. Let's see what else we got here. Damn straight. Yeah, I was 6 in '92. Yeah, thanks, Charles. I didn't exist until '94. This is from Charles. Okay, so no problem. The movie was so Charles. You are an early '90. You're a year younger than my brother, than Malcolm. So you're 27. I'm guessing 27 or 28, because Malcolm will be 29 next month. He'll be 29 next month. So you got to be a year younger than Malcolm or so. Um, but by the time you were born, the season, the series was season 3 was, I believe, wrapping up. Season 3 was around '94. That was when they turned the series later into the Adventures of Batman and Robin. That was finally when Robin got put into the credit opening, which was good. And then season 4 came later. That's when they really changed the whole art direction, where it looked more like the artwork from the Superman the animated series. And like I said before, the amount of money it took to just draw the the old school animated series from season 1 up to season 3, I think it was like over a million an episode. I forget how much it was. It was crazy how much it cost. So I can understand why they went that other direction. I wasn't a big fan of season 4 too much, because Batman felt like he became a dick in later in season 4, when it became the Adventures of Batman again. I did not like a lot of the looks for a lot of the characters in that. For example, I didn't like how Bane, he looked like a gimp. Like it, I did not like that. I didn't like how Croc looked. I like Croc's old look than his new look. I love the Scarecrow's look in the new series. He looked creepy and scary. He looked like he was dead. Like he looked like somebody hung him and he was up just hanging from somebody's noose, just decaying. And he was only like, I think, in only one episode or so. And that sucked. And it was a really good episode. It was an episode. No, it was 2 episodes. No, it was a couple episodes. But one of the favorite episodes of the new season was where Barbara's worst fear came to life. Remember when she got drugged by the Scarecrow, and she had a vision, or she had a fear that Bruce and her father were. She was trying to, since Bruce kept it a secret that Barbara was Batgirl. She died in that episode. She got knocked off the roof. They showed it too. Like they showed her literally. Scarecrow snuck up on her, knocked her off the roof of the building. She landed flat first on top of her father's car. Boom! She hit and she was dying, and her first words was "Dad," and he's like, "Barbara," and he took off her mask, and that's when Bruce came down, and he was like, "Jim," in the famous Kevin Conroy voice. You know how he says Jim, And next thing you know, um, Gordon was pissed. He's like, how could you? Like, you knew? And then Harvey got involved. And Harvey was always kind of in and out with Bruce and Batman in general. And it became like a war against. Then of course, Gordon started just going off the deep end. He hired Bane to go after Bruce. It was like, man, I can't imagine that happening, but it was just like, and I thought it was real. I thought it was real until finally, when they both fell off the roof, you heard Barbara saying, "No, no," like you're having a nightmare. And she woke up, and then that's when she was going to tell Jim about that she was Batgirl. And he told her, he said, no. He didn't say. He just said, you're an adult now. You don't need my approval for anything, but just know that I love you. You're my daughter, and that's all I'm going to have to say about that. And that was it. She never told him that he was Batgirl, because she was going to tell him. And Bruce even said, I understand. Like, but it was kind of reminiscing of one of my favorite Batman stories, uh, uh, Kingdom Come. No, not Kingdom Come. Not Kingdom Come. Uh, No Man's Land. In that story, Bruce revealed himself to Jim at the end of that story, because Jim was like a key, like he became like a general in that. And once he removed him, that Jim turned around out of respect and said no. And so Bruce could have easily grabbed him and said, Jim, look at me. I want you to know, when Batman removes his mask, you take that as respect. Like, he trusts you, and he trusted Jim Gordon enough to remove his. So I love that. So it was really good. It was a really good episode. Um, but yeah, there was some good designs of that. Good question. In your opinion, do you consider the Arkham games a part of the connected to the animated series? No. No, Ken, I don't. I consider the Arkham games their own universe, because if they are a part of the wide scope of the animated series, then Superman should have came through. Wonder Woman should have came through, all that. So they did. Yes, Batman then was very mature for kids. Yeah, it was mature. Like, hold on, guys. I want to change disc. Yeah. Sorry about that, guys. I had to change disc. For anybody who's wondering, is he really? Does he really have? Is he really serious about having the box sets? Yeah, I do. Here you go. I'll show it to you right now. See, here's volume 1. This is all of season 1. I have all Batman Beyonds too. I just, they're down there somewhere. Here's season 2. Here's season 3. Right now, this is what I'm on right now. And here's season 4. So I've been doing that all this week, watching the seasons. My way of being tributed to Mr. Conroy. Um, talk about season. One of the things that season three introduced, we do get the introduction of Baby Doll, as you can see right there. You can see it, like you see her right there. And also the introduction of Bane. Bane is and Ra's al Ghul. This was actually the I wouldn't say the initial. It is the initial where Bruce and Ra's al Ghul meet for the first time. This is it, the Demon's Quest. That's what it's called. But we did meet him before at the end. Do you remember that Count Vertigo was in? Yeah, there were a couple of DC characters in the original anime series. I just finished watching the episode where Zatanna made her debut, where she was just they made it as she was just a magician, not a not a real like sorceress that she is. Like Bruce learned under her father how to escape, be a great escape artist. That was good. And and yeah, Count Vertigo was in an episode. He worked for Ra's al Ghul in that episode. But yeah, did I like the art design of the original series? Yeah, I didn't mind what they tried to do with the series. They looked more like people, everybody dressed like they were from like the 40s or the 30s. Even the cars look similar to the 30s, 1930s, 1940s. TV was still black and white. Um, there was zeppelins, flying over, you know, and guys had Tommy guns. They didn't have, you know, so yeah, there were, I did I did like the art direction. It was great. It was cool. Um, let's see what else people. Batman the Animated was for on Quacksh's best network in the '90s. It maybe existed. Yeah, yeah, it was. I mean, Fox in the '90s they did good stuff. At that point, '90s. You know, it's sad to see that. I grew up in the '80s, probably the greatest era for cartoons, and I miss the days of getting up early on the weekends, especially when as a kid, getting up, getting a big bowl of cereal, and sitting down in front of the TV and just watching cartoons from 7 a.m. to 12 p.m. in the afternoon. Yeah, I do miss that stuff. I miss that. Kids today don't have that luxury. It's like they don't want to make good cartoons anymore, and it's sad. It's really sad. I mean, don't get me wrong. There are some good cartoons. Disney. To me, Disney has been putting out some really good cartoons, but it's like it's sporadically. There's not like a whole block. Fox had a whole 2 hour block. WB Kids WB had a whole. You know what I mean? Oh, we got we got the debut of Scarface, the ventriloquist, is here. Um, did anybody like Scarface? Who likes Scarface? I'm not talking about the movie. I'm talking about the character. What is everybody saying? I want to see this Kevin Conroy and Keith David. I wanted to see Keith David and Conroy. Yeah, I would have loved to seen that. Keith David and Kevin Conroy voicing the respective characters in a Batman Spawn. That would have been cool. That would have been great. That would have been amazing. I would have loved to seen that. If Batman was in the Marvel universe, would he be popular as a character such as Daredevil, Spider Man, and Iron Man? What Marvel character do you see coming to Gotham City? I brought this. Somebody asked me this. One of my Patreons asked me to do a video on this. Lorenzo Smalls. He asked me to do a video where I asked him he asked me if Spider-Man was in the Marvel in the DC universe, would he still be as popular as he is now? And I said, yeah. Would Batman be popular? Is be interesting because there are a lot of Batman type characters in Marvel as it is. Nighthawk comes to mind, people like that. But it would be interesting to see Gotham City as a whole, in Gotham City being in the Marvel universe. And for everybody who wonders, like, where is Gotham City on the map? If you Google Gotham City, originally Gotham City was a part of New Jersey. It's like a part of New Jersey. Metropolis and Gotham are like a part of New Jersey or somewhere. Like, it's weird. I think it's old school, but it's really interesting to see. Um, but I don't think personally, when I look at characters like Ra's al Ghul, I don't think he would be on the same level as he is. Like, I could see Doctor Doom taking him out real quick. Like, okay, oh, you think you're a threat? Doctor Doom would say, "All right, I'll show you how much of a threat you are." Doctor Doom would discover all the Lazarus pits, and cut race off from even using them again, and just end him. Like, you're nothing without these. Like, I can see Doom doing that. I can see Doom. Uh, I think in terms of Gotham City, I can clearly see the Punisher going to Gotham City and probably wiping out people. Him and Frank would go right at it real quick. There is a crossover between Punisher and um, I can see the Hand using Gotham City as a stomping ground. Um, as for heroes, yeah, I think most of the heroes that I can think of would be Daredevil. I think would mix up well with Bruce and Spider Man. They've all done it. So yeah, I mean, he would be popular, but I think for some sense, Marvel would give him more of an believable edge if he was a part of if he was a part of Marvel. They would give him a more believable edge of why he's able to do the things he can. Even if you look at Daredevil, Daredevil doesn't have super strength, but he's just skilled. His powers come from his senses. All his five senses are superhuman. He has not his strength, but you would have to give him somewhat of an edge to, because even still, even still, it is hard for me to believe. As much as I love Batman, it's hard for me to believe that is Batman is skilled, is has strength in every known martial art. There's no way you can do that and be and be that level of that good. There's no way. There's no Not even the greatest martial art masters can say they've mastered every style ever. That's not possible. Even with his dedication, he would never be able. That's not possible. He would be older than he is. Comic wise, they always say Bruce is around what, his 40s. He's around my age, but he's at his peak. So no, but he would still be good, and I think you know, he would probably get asked to join the Avengers. He would probably turn it down and probably start his own. He probably would start the Outsiders in the Marvel universe. He would look at a couple of Marvel heroes that fit that mold that he's looking for and use them. Yeah, so in a sense, yes. Link think of Kyle Rayner. I don't know because we never heard Link talk. In your opinion, what villain do you think Kevin Conroy could have voiced if he had a chance to do? I don't know myself. Well, he voiced Merman in the He-Man. He was Merman. That was Kevin Conroy doing Merman. I thought he did a good job. There's your villain. Um, he outside of he's voiced some characters outside of Batman, but it's hard for me to look at Kevin Conroy as voicing a character, a villain. Um, it's hard. it's really hard. And Batman Bruce just got. I'm watching an episode that introduced Scarface, and he sees the mannequin, the dummy in the bed, and the dummy's eyes open, and he thought it was real. So the ventriloquist. What an interesting concept for a Batman villain, like a ventriloquist that is good, but he makes this dummy that becomes like once again mental. Remember, a lot of Batman villains have mental issues. That's what makes them stand out a lot. That's why they always go to Arkham. They don't they don't go to jail. They go to Arkham for the criminal insane. You know, even though Arkham at times looked like a jail, it was ridiculous. But yeah, outside of that, I can't really think of anybody else I could see Kevin voicing as a villain. Uh, I can't see anybody else. Ken. Hey Chris. Hey Nathan. Let's see. Charles. Oh, Gray Ghost episode was good. Yes, I was just about to mention that episode. That was actually based on a lot of realism too, because not only did the Gray Ghost in this universe, the Gray Ghost was Bruce's inspiration. Um, the Gray Ghost was voiced by former Batman Adam West. Rest in peace, Adam West. And it was also playing off a lot of realism too. When the 60s Batman that our parents grew up watching, well, I'm speaking for myself, my dad and his brothers and uncles grew up watching that show. Um, when that ended, Adam West had a hard time finding work as an actor because everybody just saw him as Batman. And in that episode, he played an actor. He played the actor of the Gray Ghost, and we see him. He's a struggling actor. There was like he had to always sell like his Gray Ghost memorabilia just to pay the rent, And his agent would say, You didn't get the part. They only see you as a Gray Ghost." And he's like, "But I'm an actor. I can play other roles." And it's that. And then of course there's like a mad bomber that is from like the show that's blowing up things, and he dresses up as the Gray Ghost. But in reality, there are several characters that inspired Bruce to become Batman. Y'all want to take a guess who those are? If y'all, you know what? Right now, I want to know who are the characters that inspired Bruce to become Batman. There are two. Write them in the comments. I want to hear it. But yeah, that was a good episode too. That was a really good episode. It's cool that you did this. Big ups for you, Chris. I'm calling it. Peace. Rest in peace, Kim. Thanks, Kim. Uh, I love way too many episodes. I don't care, Caroline. Hit them with me. Come on, girl. Hit them. Hit it. Let's go. I'm gonna keep saying some more of my episodes. Let's talk about the episode of Bane. Bane's debut was great in the animated series. I remember when Fox advertised that. Bane, his original. I love Bane when he's more realistic. When you start upping him, making him look overly muscular, like how Bane looked in the Arkham games, I hate that look. Where he looked like the fucking Hulk. I did not like that. I don't like Bane looking overly muscular like that. Bane is already a big dude. The Venom increases his strength, but because all it is a souped up steroid, but he shouldn't be getting jacked up. Like I didn't like how he looked in the Batman. He looked like he was Red Hulk. I hated that. I was like that I don't like that. He looked like he was taking growth hormones, and it really, Bane to me, the original debut of Bane was perfect because he didn't look overly muscular, but you could tell he looked jacked. He was more muscular and jacked, and things like that. So when that the venom started souping through him, and I love how it sounded like his heart started pumping a little faster. And in that episode, he was like an assassin for hire. You know, they did play off that. Yes, he was Hispanic. which Bane is. He's not British or anything. He's not a white dude. He's Hispanic, and it has never been Bane has never been portrayed Hispanic in the movies. He's been in movies twice, and they didn't portray him with a Hispanic actor. In the animated, they have done perfectly with him. But in there, Rupert Thorne had hired him to take out Batman. He became a hitman for hire. His job was like $1 million, 1 million, like 1 million, 1 million for every for hit. And Batman, uh, uh, Bane kidnapped Robin, and you know went after Bruce later on. He said, I remember him saying like, when I finally see how the bat thinks and fights, I'll break him. And he's like, first I will study him. He kind of reminds you of like Craven. He was like a hunter. He would study his prey, and then when I learn how he thinks and fights, then I'll break him. And he kidnapped Robin, and Bruce and him fought. And I remember, I remember when he had Bruce yoked, and and Bruce threw a batarang at him, and Bane caught it, and he was like, "Toys, you tried to fight me with pathetic little toys," and he just broke it. And he also he also ruined the Batmobile. I remember that. Um, Bruce and Dick were after Croc, and Killer Croc was in the he was in the he was in the sewer, and Bane bust down, and he said, "He is mine to destroy, monster." And then he said, "Over my dead body." And he said, "As you wish." And he turned his knob. He got bigger, and he tried to drown. He tried to drown Croc, and then you just saw Croc come out. And then that's when Robin was like, "Someone's helping us. Somebody tough." And then when they took him out the sewer, and he was like, "What do you think, Batman? Maybe it's a crime fighter like us trying to clean up Gotham." And Batman's the look on Bruce's face, like, and he just saw the Batmobile crushed. And he says, "I think I know one thing. You're right about one thing, Robin. Whoever did this was tough. This was done with bare hands." Bane crushed the Batmobile with his bare hands. So it was really good. And I love that ending. He's like, "You got nothing. Beg for mercy. Scream my name." That shit was hilarious. And he was going to do the whole breaking the bat. And that's when, almost hit my mic. And that's when Bruce took a knife out, hit his dial of the venom, and then he's like, "No, no, the venom, I can't get through." And he was just getting bigger and bigger and bigger until the juice was cut off from it, because they literally had it. The wire was from where the venom comes in from his wrist into his back of his head, and so Bruce cut it off so he wouldn't. So yeah, it's a lot different, but it was good. I enjoyed that. Bane's episode was fun. So yeah, indeed. Um, do you think Andy Circuit? You think Andy Circuit it'll be a good actor for Sam for Spawn? Andy Circuit. Last time a good actor for Sam from Spawn. No, no. I like Andy Circuit, but no. Because I know if they're still doing that Spawn movie, which I think they are, um, uh, Jeremy Renner is playing Twitch. So I don't know who's going to play Sam. You need a bigger actor who's got a little bit more weight on him to play Sam. Sam has always been the bigger guy. Now we got Bruce fighting. Bruce is fighting the ventriloquist's uh, henchman. One of the guys is this big guy called Rhino, So, and Bruce just tried to knuckle up to him with body blows, and he just looked at him like, and Rhino just and he flipped him. I like the fact that most of the villains had their own set of henchmen. You know, they never had like the just like random guys. They had their henchmen. Harley and Ivy was a good episode. Yes, I just finished watching that. The episode where Harley and Ivy teamed up for the first time. Hey, ain't you that plant lady? Poison Oaky? Ivy. I love that. That was a good episode too. Probably probably the funniest part is when they go to Ivy's hideout. She's on like a toxic waste, like, and she since she's immune to that, she gave Harley an injection that will keep her from dying from the toxic fumes. And when Joker came to visit her because he had like a falling out with Harley, and he basically was like, and then Bruce he came back and with a Tommy gun and he started shooting at Bruce with his Tommy and Bruce is looking back and seeing all the toxic waste and drums and he's like, "Stop firing, you lunatic! We're sitting on a powder keg," and he's just like, and Joker's just shooting at. This cracks me up every time I watch that episode. Uh, let's see, people are talking to each other. I got a toy of Batman from the animated series from McFarlane Toys. McFarlane makes good toys. He makes good stuff. Is it true in the comics that there is more than one Clayface? Yes. And actually, Matt Hagen is not the original Clayface. There was a different guy who was Clayface. I'm getting his name off the top of my head. Um, yes, thank you, Charles. Thank you for. No, wait. Are you talking? Yes, thank you, Charles. Bassin Carlo, thank you, is the first Clayface. Ditto Charles. Just thinking about meeting him in is crazy. Yeah, my favorite episode. This is Bill. Is the one where Bruce was framed for Batgirl's death. Yeah, that's the nightmare episode from season 4. It's called I forgot what the episode's called, but yeah, it's the she got hit with Scarecrow's Scarecrow's fear toxin, and it brought her worst fear to life. Yeah, that was a good episode. It was from season 4. This season. Did you like what they did to Tim in? No, I didn't. I really wasn't a big fan of what they did with Tim. They mixed him up with Jason Todd. I didn't like that. Tim Drake is my favorite Robin. And I didn't like that they made him like more like he was he was living on the streets because that's basically Jason Todd's origin. I didn't like that. I didn't like that at all. Not at all. And then in the Batman, the animated adventures comic series, they brought in Red Hood. They basically did a incorporation of, okay, this is how Jason Todd was real. He was real. He was a Robin. This is what happened to him. They did a decent job trying to explain it, but it wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad at all. Should George Benson be in the Rock and Hall of Fame? Rock and Hall of Fame. That's up to them. Uh, I'm surprised Baby Doll never transitioned to the comic. I am too, Charles. I would have thought Baby Doll would have transitioned because there are a lot of the characters that were supposedly only animated villains. They transitioned. Harley Quinn is a prime example of that. Harley transitioned into the and her she just was a animated character, then went comics, and then her just skyrocketed from there. So yeah, I was shocked. Um, it's kind of the same thing like with Firestar from Marvel Comics. Firestar was only supposed to be a part of Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, and she got so popular that Chris Claremont incorporated her into the comics, gave her a whole origin and everything. So yeah, you can see that. Like right now, in comics right now, what's Kat Dennings' character? Um, she's being incorporated now into Marvel Comics now. So yeah, it's crazy. Let's see. Was there any mention in the Batman animated that you that made you tear up or cry? Yes. Um, the episode. Matter of fact, that I was watching it not too long ago. It was an episode. Um, there were two episodes that I can think of. Right. I think both of them happened. Both of them happened. I think in season two. Season two. It was called one of them. The episode was called. Let me make sure I remember. Uh, the episode was called. It was the 21st episode of season two. It was called "I Am the Night." In that episode, Bruce had he was with Leslie Thompson, Dr. Leslie Thompson, and before that he was going. He would look tired. He looked just worn out. And he started questioning the work that he's doing the work he's doing as as Batman. Is it really paying off? He puts some people away, but you know his crime, the drugs, all kind of stuff. He was he started wondering about that, and but he was going to go to Crime Alley to pay his respects with the roses, put the roses down for his parents, and he starts even questioning that, with Dr. Leslie Thompson, and but he was also going to meet. He had duty calls, promises to keep. He promised Jim Gordon that he would meet up with a guy. They were going to take down this drug lord, this drug kingpin called the Jazz Man. And the hit, it was kind of a setup, but in the raid, Jim Gordon got shot, and Bruce started blaming himself and started blaming, like, he started going on about, all the people that I love and I care about, they're getting they're dying, or they're getting hurt, and he started contemplating him being Batman. And Robin came back from college to kind of consult him. He's like, Jim, you got to remember, Bruce, Jim was a cop. He knew the risk, stuff like that. And Jim came out of he survived the surgery, but he did come, and the Jazz Man did come back after him. He broke out of jail, came after Bruce. And the part that made me cry was where Jim, when he woke up with Barbara and Bruce, well, he was Batman at the time, and he was like, and he said, you got to keep fighting. I've lived by that motto. Because as soon as he woke up, he was like, did we get the bus? And he's like, yeah, we did. We got him. And he's just like, got to keep fighting no matter what. And he's like, I wish I was a little bit younger like you. He was talking to Batman. And he said, if I always wanted to be a hero. And he passed back out, but Bruce grabbed his hand and just said, you are a hero, Jim. And that actually got me. I'm like, I was like, oh, that one got me. Another episode, I believe it was called, I forgot what it was called, but Bruce had lost his memory. The episode revolved around a lot of Bruce was working for this like homeless foundation, and he started a lot of volunteers of this. I think this happened in season one. Lost, were ended up going missing, and Bruce went undercover to find out what was going on, and he got attacked. He got hit in the back of the head, and he wakes up and he's like in this prison ward or sense. This fat, greasy, pudgy bastard is now, and when I mean fat and greasy, I'm meaning like you always saw this guy eating, and when he talked like he just he had just wads of grease in his throat. So when he laughed, he was like he's like I'm like, oh, that sounds so nasty. Bruce had lost his memory, so he doesn't remember. He met this guy called Dan Riley and Salvo Smith. They they um they were in this chain gang because these people was like, you want a job, and he wasn't. They were. It wasn't a real job. They were work slaves, and Dan Riley was asking him, "Do you remember anything?" He's like, no, and he's like, he's like, well, maybe you were some kind of fighter because he fought so good, and then that's where he started losing it, and then he remembers saying, I can't take this anymore. Dan, the guy, was saying, I can't take this anymore, and he's like, I lost my family. And then that triggered a memory from Bruce, and he started remembering, you know, and the music, the Batman theme will also kind of tear me up a little bit. That and the way they played it, it got me teared up. And yeah, and he remembers his family, and then he remembers him becoming Batman. Um, there were a couple of episodes that made me cry or almost cry or tear me up. Um, a lot of the episodes involved Robin's reckoning. Oh my God, that the origin of Robin. That episode, those two episodes actually won that series a daytime Emmy award. It was that episode that won them a daytime Emmy award. Robin's reckoning was great, and that actually made me cry just seeing that because it was the first time Bruce. This was really the first time Bruce was really kind of telling Dick, I don't want you going after, because when he found out that Tony Zuko was involved, we all know Tony Zuko is the one that killed Dick Grayson's family, and when he found out, he was pissed at Bruce, and then Bruce kind of explained why he didn't tell him. He's like, Zuko's taken so much from you. I couldn't stand bearing the fact something happened to you. And I was just like, oh, like it's like you could tell Bruce meant that. It wasn't as if he didn't mean it. He meant every word. That was the biggest thing. And that's the Batman that I love. Like, he does have a heart. He's not just some dark entity, which I don't like. Make him human. He has feelings like that. I like stuff like that. So yeah, those make me cry. Look at that. And speak of the devil, Caroline just mentioned Robin's Reckoning. Good episode. Birds of Fear. The Demon's Quest should also come to mind. Those are great episodes. All great. Batman Lockup episode. Yeah, Lockup. Lockup was fine. I think the problem with Lockup was he was a one and done villain. You never saw him again. I wish he did come back, because was he necessarily a bad guy? No. Not necessarily. He just felt like the criminal justice system was failing. Batman locks up these criminals, and they get parole, and they come back out on the street, and they just do it again. I didn't like that. The Trial, yes. There's a guy on YouTube I like. He goes under the name Legal Eagle. He's a real life lawyer, and he reacts to a lot of things that deal with law. And he did that episode where he talks about what Batman does is against the rules and is against the law and everything. And he did a whole thing, but he's great. I love him. He's great. He's up there with like Dr. Mike. I love Dr. Mike. I watch a lot of Dr. Mike videos on YouTube. I love him. Real doctor, but he does stuff. And um the trial episode is really good where uh the new DA had to defend uh Bruce at Arkham because the villains got out of Arkham and they were using it as a trial. And they even admitted that, yeah, basically the DA even said like, yeah, yeah, even if she even said like, you all would have ended up the same way even without Batman. Oh yeah, the gimmicks probably would have been different, but you all would have ended up the same way. You know, she basically said, in hindsight, you created him. You created Batman. And I love it was even true that the villains even said when they asked, okay, what's the verdict? And we, the verdict of the jury, defined him not guilty. It was shocking, but still you knew what was coming. Like Joker, even because he was the Joker was the judge. He was like, you're right, counselor. We all messed up our own lives. And even though we're so rotten and dirt down, we're gonna waste you anyway. It was like, yeah, you knew that was coming. So I really loved that episode. The trial was a good episode, very good episode. Also, Night of the Ninja, good episode. Day of the Samurai, good episode. I remember when they did the crossover between Batman and Superman called World's Finest. The scenes and hearing their voices were everything. Yeah, yeah. When they did the World's Finest crossover, that was the first time we actually saw Batman and Superman in a long time together on on a show. Because the last time I could think of seeing was the Justice League cartoon from back in the day. You know, so this time we got to see them on the show together, and I remember that was so funny just to see Bruce flip Clark, and Clark's face sold it like he was just like, this dude flipped me. Like, how did he do that? Like, it was hilarious. And that was at the time when everybody was saying, yeah, you don't want to be like that nut in Gotham. It was funny. I remember that. That was a good episode. Believe it or not, guys, Kevin Conroy for years was among my top three favorite Batman actors. Charles, who's your other two? Give them up. I want to hear, dude. Oh my God, Bruce Greenwood is excellent. Yeah, Bruce Greenwood is my second favorite Batman actor, voice actor. Actually, Chris, the man's name is Reno. Thank you, Reno Romano. Thank you. Uh, One of my friends from my local Alliance Center of Independence met Kevin Conroy in a convention in Philly. Said, "Man was a classy gentleman." I've heard that from friends too. Uh, Kevin Conroy was easily one of the nicest people I've ever met. He was extremely humble and absolutely chill. That's all I hear. He was absolutely okay. Oh, y'all talking to each other. Will Miser, what's your favorite Kevin Conroy Batman memory? It was, if you haven't already said it. Favorite Batman is probably when he's talking to Robin about in Robin's reckoning why he didn't want Robin to go after Zuko. But of course, you have to mention where he finally said, I am vengeance, I am the night, I am Batman. Those are good stuff. Right now, guys, I am on an episode, season 3 with the Mad Hatter. He had these little dolls, and he's stealing from rich folks in Gotham. Yeah, yeah, okay, yeah. Let's bring that up. Who said that? Uh, Lorenzo. Hey, Lorenzo, what's up? Yeah, Lorenzo, you're right. Why are you not coming up? I see you as a Lorenzo's right. Yeah, a lot of the other rich, wealthy people in Gotham were total dicks. They were total dicks. Um, to a degree, they were. Veronica Vreeland, she was, she used Penguin when Penguin basically, um, when Penguin was trying to reform, and all he wanted was friendship from her. He wasn't trying to, and they were just using him, and that's why he turned back to being bad. A lot of them were just dicks. Bruce was probably the only one that, out of the high society, that wasn't like that. I remember the Terrific Trio. They were nothing but rich, which I hate to say it, but if I got any white follow listening, no offense to you guys, but just rich white boys that, you know, were looking for thrills, so they turned to crime. It was like stupid stuff. It was just weird. Let's see. What will Sinestro think of Michael Myers? I'll give him a fear ring. Meeting him was absolute surreal. I can remember, came there as I was waiting in his line. I remember getting nervous, but when I met him, he was nothing but lovely. You know what? That's the same thing I could say about when I met Gail Simone for the first time. Um, I'm a huge Gail Simone fan, and she is my she is a friend. Literally, she will tell you straight up, that's my friend. And I've met her several times, and we are friends. So I remember the first time I finally got to meet her, because she had said her husband said she watches your videos all the time. Um, she's humbled by just how much you love her work and things like that. And I was I was very humbled by that. But I can remember being very I was very nervous meeting her. I too was very scared meeting her. I was like, oh God, like I was like, oh, there she is, and then, like, I walked up to her, and when I told her my name, her husband was like, "You're the Mount Vernon kid," and he just shouted me out to everybody who was there. It was New York Comic Con 2017 when it happened, and ever since then, he and I have just been that family and I have been just good friends. Every time I meet them, they so I know that feeling. I would have loved to have met Kevin Conroy. At many conventions he was at, and I would just miss him. He was there maybe a day I was there, and I was just like, oh, you know, the fact that he passed from cancer, I hate it. Cancer's a bitch. I swear. It's like, and not a lot of people knew that he was sick. I didn't know he was sick, so it is sad. Do you think they'll do an Injustice 3 in honor of him? I thinking too far ahead. I don't think, but if they do an Injustice 3, yeah, they're probably gonna have to change Batman's voice if he's in it. You thank you, Bill, for talking about your meeting of Kevin, Mr. Conroy. Do you see Cassandra Cain being a mentor of a member of the Shanti? What Lantern Corps Akuma would none, because he wouldn't want to be. That's not Akuma style. In the picture I took with him, I had the biggest smile on my face. That's cool. That's great. I'm 28. Yeah, so yeah, you're you're a year younger than my Malcolm, my brother. Animation is truly art. Yeah. Quentin, what is your favorite part in Liar Liar, the movie about Liar Liar? My favorite part is when he says, "I'm stop breaking the law." Probably when he's kicking his ass. When the guy's like, "What the hell are you doing?" "I'm kicking my ass. You mind?" Like that was just pure physical comedy by Jim Carrey. There are some points where I feel I respect and admire voice actors more than screen actors. I will agree. Yes, indeed. I agree. There are many that I feel that same way about voice actors. They, to me, the good voice actors don't get enough credit than they deserve because they are also actors. They don't get the same amount of pay as screen actors. You know that for a fact. I know that for a fact. Um, you know, uh, oh, Sideshow, another good episode. This is the second episode or third episode with Killer Croc, and he is shacked up with this freak show. I use that in quotations. These are people who just look different. This is a good episode. It's on right now, like I said. But yeah, screen actors don't get enough. Voice actors, you know, like even when they do these animated movies, they don't. Even if they are in that, they don't get top billings. It's the main actors that get it. You know, you think for a second that, I mean, let's look in Sonic the Hedgehog movies. Who's getting top billing? Jim Carrey, not the actor who voiced Sonic. You know, I'm forgetting his name, but yeah, but they don't get enough credit. They should get more credit than they do because they also bring the characters. They bring those characters to life. They give them a voice. Kevin Conroy's Batman is the only one we followed from year one in the animated series to the old age in the we saw not just the character's evolution, but the uh, but Kevin Conroy's evolution in portraying him. Will, I can I can literally agree with that because let me tell you a story. I An old friend of mine that I've known since elementary school. He was said he loved Batman, and then I realized that he didn't love Batman as much as he says he does. He loved Kevin Conroy as Batman because I would say to him, well, are you? I would ask him like, did you like the movies? No. You didn't like the movies? I like you. So you didn't like Michael Keaton as Batman? No. He said, and I said, I thought you said you like Batman. I do like Batman. So you didn't like? No. Why? So I'll say why. I would say, Joseph. Why? Why you didn't like him? I, I I like Batman. I'm like, but you didn't like Michael Keaton as Batman, right? No. But you like Batman, right? Yes. I said, then he started, I was like, so then I broke it down. And I said, so as we got older and we started going through elementary school up into junior high and high school, he only served 1 year in high school because then he moved away. His family moved from New York to uh, Texas. Yeah, Texas. So, but we keep in touch, like social media and stuff. And I bring it up all the time now. I was like, and so I even said, I was like, dude, you liked Kevin Conroy Batman. You didn't like any other Batman. And I just jokingly laugh at him. And he's like, stop laughing. I'm like, no, it's true. And I said, did you like the Batman cartoon? He said, no. I said, did you like Batman Brave and the Bold? No. I said, but you like Batman and Injustice, right? Yeah. And I'm like, and why is that? Did you like the Arkham? He's like, I said, what's your favorite Batman game? The Arkham series. Why is that? I said, did you play Arkham Horror? I remember asking him, did you play Arkham Horror? He said, nope. I said, Why not? And that was probably the first time ever in all the years we've known each other, he finally admitted and said it didn't have Kevin Conroy in it. I'm like, there you go. There you go. Finally, after all these years, after 20 plus years that we've known each other, you finally admit and said, yeah, it's Kevin Conroy. So I say, so now when I ask him, I see him on social, he's online on social media, or I'll text him, I'll say, you like Batman, right? Kevin Conroy Batman. And I say, but you like Batman in the comics, right? Yeah. And I say, why is that? Because I can hear Kevin Conroy's voice. It's funny. Funny story, right? Yeah. That's funny. Okay, let's keep going, guys. But I am it. So let's see what else did we talked Caroline Ansha. The Adventures of Batman and Robin Scarecrow's look is easily one of my favorite Scarecrow design, with the Arkham design look being close second. Yeah. Arkham design of Scarecrow is creepy too. If I was creating a Scarecrow, to me, if his sorry about that, guys. If he